So excited that she's here in person because I'm a huge fan, and I'm sure all the listeners at KTU are as well. She hails from the UK, and she's a former member of the amazing group Little Mix, but now she embarks on her amazing solo career, which is taking the world by storm. I'm not even kidding you. Her first single, that's called Angel of My Dreams, over 50 million streams. The second single, Midnight Cowboy, the fans lost their minds. But this third single, girl, Fantasy, 55 million streams, almost 10 million views on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, RCA recording artist Jade. Yes! Welcome.
Wow, what an introduction.
Welcome to New York City. Yes, of course. You deserve that and then more. How are you feeling?
I feel great. Yeah, I feel really good. Doing my own thing is amazing. I love my music. It's been well received, and I'm so happy to be back here in the US.
So what does it feel like to be in New York City now?
Oh, I love it so much. There was a period actually during like the Little Mix days where I was convinced I was going to move to New York.
You should.
Yeah, it's very my energy. Yeah, it's kind of like London, I suppose, but maybe slightly friendlier. So,
wow.
So yeah,
Wait,
I
did
do
you
love
say
it here.
Slightly friendlier?
I think so. I feel like in New York, like you can walk past someone, they're like, "Girl, you look good," and you're like, "Oh, thanks." Like you don't get that in the UK. Like you don't get people just like complimenting you off the cuff, which is lovely.
I love it. Yeah. Well, being solo.
Yes.
How does that feel? Is it scary? Is it exciting? How are you feeling about that?
I think there was a bit of nerves initially just because, I was part of Little Mix, which was huge for like over a decade. I was put in the band when I was 18, so I spent my whole adult life in the group. So yeah, it was a big change. But once I started writing my own music and feeling like I really knew what my own sound was, and I was just excited to show the world. So yeah, now it feels quite liberating actually, because now the music I'm making is, I still love the Little Mix music, obviously, but now it's more about personal experiences, or I can write from my heart about what I want to do. So it's great.
That's great. So now that you feel this feeling of liberation, can you imagine going back to the group?
My gosh, I mean, never say never. I think eventually, if the time was right. But I think it's really cool that we're all sort of venturing off on our solo journeys now. I feel like we all deserve to have our own moment to shine. But that isn't to say that in like 5 years plus maybe that there might be a little reunion. Who knows?
Be fun.
Who knows? We'll see.
Well, I think you're doing fantastic. I mean, 55 million streams is nothing.
Yeah.
Like you have bragging rights now officially.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you.
What 3 words would you use to describe yourself as an artist?
I would say that's a good question. I would say brave. I would say empowering and chaotic.
I like that. I like that. So what do you want your fans to feel when they walk away from hearing your music? What message are you trying to give the fans?
I want to show the fans that you don't have to kind of box yourself in or feel like you have to, I guess fit, especially for me in like the pop space. I feel like now more than ever, there aren't as many boundaries of what you can or can't do as a pop artist. So I want people to listen to my music and feel empowered. I want them to feel like they can take risks if they want to in their life or creatively. And I want them to feel powerful. I feel like all of my songs have a kind of undertone of like self-confidence, whether that is like in relationships or like for me in the industry. There's definitely that like running thread of feeling like a new version of myself. So I hope that projects onto the fans that listen to it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of risks, right?
Yeah.
Your latest single, Fantasy.
Yes.
You mentioned that it's about taking risk when you're in a relationship, being more sexually open, more sexually helped. Let's talk about it, girl. Let's go there.
Well, yeah, I think the theme behind Fantasy, is this idea of feeling like sexually liberated and empowered, feeling comfortable or safe enough with someone to explore your fantasies, whatever they are. The lyrics in the song are about having like no shame, feeling no judgment. And I think as a woman, I find that quite powerful to write a song like that. And so, yeah, that was kind of the vibe behind it. And I guess sonically, the inspirations behind it are like the artists that I love listening to growing up, like Diana Ross or Donna Summer.
Oh, you're a Donna Summer fan. I love
gosh,
that. We have that in common.
all
Yes.
the divas. So, yeah, I definitely drew some inspo from that, but in my own kind of Jade way. It's just a feel-good song. And, yeah, I hope people will bop around to it when they hear it.
I absolutely, I think they will. I'm sure they will.
Thank you.
Regarding Fantasy, your video is directed by the one and only David LaChapelle, right? He did Britney Spears.
Yes.
He did Gwen Stefani. How did that happen?
Oh, you tell me. It still feels like a fever dream. It really does. I've been a huge fan of David LaChapelle's work for, since I can remember. He's always the mood board for my visuals. So when I brought out Angel of My Dreams, he actually DM'd me on Instagram and said how much he loved it. Did we want to hang out? And I was like, oh my gosh,
really?
That's
Great.
David. Oh my God, it's David. So I went to LA, we hung out in his studio, I played him some music, and I just said, like, would you be interested in like doing the fantasy video? And he said yes. And then we bonded over like the divas, like your Diana Ross's, Bette Midler, all the kind of big divas, and that was kind of the influence behind the concept for the fantasy video, which I feel like has that kind of Soul Train meets American Bandstand vibe.
That's exactly what I was going to say when I was
Yes.
watching the video.
Yes.
I'm watching like, yes, it has a Soul Train vibe. There's roller skating,
Yeah.
there's dancing, there's couples on the different platforms.
Yes.
And then this thing happened, right? Where I'm like, at first, when I first saw the person, I'm like, is that a hater? I'm not sure. I'm not sure like what they represented. And then there's this moment, this Carri moment that totally reminded me of the movie Carri.
Yes.
What was that about? Did he tell you the concept? Did you guys talk about this together?
Well, we kind of joked about it a bit. I think for me, like, I'm a huge horror movie fan. I feel like in all my visuals, actually, kind of subconsciously, I've ended up referencing a lot of horror movies, but with this one, obviously it was very direct. And when me and David chatted on the phone, I said, it's obviously going to be a beauty focused video and have all these gorgeous visuals in true David fashion, but I wanted it to have that twist or that kind of dark moment or undertone, and that's where the kind of Carri reference came from. And I remember on the phone he was like literally belly laughing at the idea of like pouring a bucket of blood over my head. So I was like, okay, he's into it.
I wanted to ask you, how was that? How long did that take?
It was one take.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I'm like, if she had to do that like 3-4 times, poor girl.
One take wonder. So I had to nail it. And it was really heavy actually. They practiced it a lot with water, like with a mop as like the prop of me. Right. And then when we actually did it, I guess the blood was made of like cornstarch, like colouring and like sugar, so it was very gloopy, like heavy texture. It nearly took me out when it hit my head, and I was in these massive high platforms like, don't move. And then it was all in my eyes, and I just remember David shouting across the room like, open your eyes. So I'm like, that's in that moment.
And you did fantastic with that, by the way. I'm
thinking,
Thank you. In addition to everything, you've got great acting skills too, because not anybody could just pull that moment off.
I guess
it was a genuine, sincere, great moment.
Genuine horror.
I'm sure the way it felt was like, God.
It was a lot. It was so sticky. I got bitten by a lot of mosquitoes that day when we went outside to like shoot some content, because I guess I was like the perfect recipe for any bugs outside. But I love like pushing it. I always love like being outside of my comfort zone or doing something uncomfortable. And what better way than to like drown myself in a bloody substance. But I feel like it did the job. Everyone was kind of shocked by it. David absolutely loved it, and what an honor to get to work with like one of the best directors of all time.
Absolutely, I agree. Speaking of working with other people, are there any collaborations you like to do with different artists?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I feel like the girls are really killing it right now, especially in the sort of pop space. I think we're seeing this rush of like main pop girlies, and not just new ones, like girls that have grafted and that have worked so hard for so long, like your Charlies or Chapel Roan, Sabrina, Tinashe. Like there's so many girls that have been around for time that are now suddenly receiving the flowers that they've deserved for such a long time. So that's really cool. I'd love to work with Tinashe. I think we could have a very like fire choreography led moment. Who else do I love? Addison Rae, I think, is pretty cool. I feel like she's surprised a lot of people. Obviously, she was like this TikTok star, but now she's releasing music that's actually really incredible.
That's awesome.
So I think she's in her own lane at the minute. So I'd love to work with someone like that. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in working with more women and seeing what happens there. But I think with my own record, I was very focused on just writing my own music, not thinking of anyone else. So now that that's finished, I can now like open my mind up to like collaborators. If you've got any ideas, let me know.
I'm thinking in my mind, I'm thinking like Sabrina Carpenter.
We love Sabrina, yeah.
What would you do something with Christina Aguilera?
Oh my God, yes. Can you imagine?
I think something with the two of you would be pretty spectacular.
Yeah, it'd be that would be fantastic. I think I need to start like manifesting again. Like I did that with David or people I wanted to work with creatively. But artist-wise, I think I need to make a list of like who I'd love to work with and just like speak it into existence.
Do that, girl. The new year's right around the corner. This is the time to start thinking about it.
Yeah.
So 5 years from now, where is Jade?
Oh my gosh. I'd love to do a world tour. I'd love to travel more, do my own shows everywhere. I think for me that's like the top of the list. I love performing. I've not done it properly for a while. And doing it with my own songs is going to be like a whole other level of special. So that, what else? I guess more albums. Now that this album is pretty much done, I'm like itching to get back in the studio again and keep writing. More collaborations, more drag queens wearing my outfits.
Yes, that's a big compliment.
I feel like you know you've made it when the drag queens replicate your looks.
That's
or if
absolutely right.
Or Halloween, people are doing your outfits. I feel like the vibe is to sort of stand the test of time and create music that, you know, resonates with people musically and visually. I think the best pop stars achieve that. So awesome. Yeah, that's the goal.
So you mentioned earlier that you liked like Diana Ross, Donna Summer. What's your favorite Donna Summer song?
Oh my gosh.
I hope it's the same one that
I was listening to Donna this morning actually. There's so many good ones. I mean, obviously I feel Love is like up there as one of everyone's main fave, but Hot Stuff is
yes.
I feel like Hot Stuff just reminds me, I mean, concept aside, of my childhood, just because I remember it always playing at like family discos and everyone would do the moves, and like it's a very nostalgic feeling when I hear that song. But I love Let's Dance as well. Is that what it's called?
Nice.
Yeah, Let's Dance, that one.
MacArthurs Park is my favorite one.
Oh really? Okay.
MacArthurs Park is melting in the
dark.
dark.
My gosh, sing more.
All the sweet green I see
beautiful
going down.
Oh my God,
yes, I love it. I love
okay
it.
Pipes. Yeah. Yeah, she is, you know, she's the queen of disco, isn't she? So
yes, she is.
Yeah, I love Donna Summer. Diana Ross like is literally the reason why I learned to sing. I was obsessed with her growing up. My mum looked just like Diana Ross, and I really thought she was Diana Ross.
Wow.
So yeah, she was my idol, and so I would just listen to all of her music and like replicate the tones in her voice and the way she performed. So yeah, she's like my ultimate icon.
Fantastic. I think a lot of times that the artists who we look up to kind of reflect on what type of artist you will be.
Oh, massively.
So if that's true, then you are ready to be a queen girl. You're ready to just rise up and evolve. Question. Is there a question you wish somebody would ask you in an interview and they never ask you?
Oh, gosh.
What's the question? Like, I wish they would just ask me this. Because I'm sure they ask the same questions over and over again. And then you're like, I wish they would ask me this.
Oh, my God. That's actually really tough because no one's ever asked me that question. I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like anything sort of music based is always lovely. I feel like what's interesting to me is when I first started in the industry, which would have been like 14 years ago or something, the questions were so different then and maybe a lot more intrusive. I am noticing now that interviewers are like just more respectful, I guess, in a way that they want to actually know about the music you're making and not necessarily like the juicy gossip or anything that they know is going to make someone feel uncomfortable. I mean, that's not really answered your question, but
that's okay.
Just to say that
I'm
I feel
not really
like
that type of person anyway.
Yeah, you're lovely.
Yeah, I was an artist in the 80s, and so I know what it feels like to be on that side.
Yes,
you ask you good questions, get to know me, get to know my music, my craft, my talent.
Yes.
I want to talk about my skills. I don't want to talk about all the drama.
Exactly.
You know? This is not a soap opera. This is,
no,
this is
it's our life, and I think the music is what is meant to do the talking. So yeah. I'll have to come back to you on that one. I'll have a good think.
Okay, think about it. That's fine. I'm good with that. Tell everyone where they can check you out, your website, where they can follow you on social. By the way, I looked at your Instagram. I was like, my God, she's got millions of followers. And then I look, and it's like, you don't have that many posts at all. So you have a huge following, and the people love you, and I do too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I do too, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, my team would probably say otherwise. They'd want me to post all the time. I really am trying to, but yeah, I think especially in this day and age, obviously everyone wants to know what you're up to, which is great. And I feel like people fall in love with your personality or what you represent, and that's half the battle, I think, to get people on board as a fan. But yeah, you can check me out on all the socials, Jade Thirlwall or Jade Official, on TikTok as well. I don't take myself too seriously. I feel like with social media, it can be a very toxic space sometimes. So you have to find what brings you joy with it. And for me, it's obviously the music side of things, but also just fooling around and having fun with it. So yeah, that's the vibe I'm on.
Yes.
But yeah.
And you don't have to tell everybody everything.
No.
Have some mystery, which you do, by the way.
Oh, that's good.
I do.
I know.
I was researching. I can't find more information about it. There's stuff all over the place, but not that personal stuff. So in a way, it's good because it lets people, they feel more intrigued this way.
Yeah. And if they want to know more, they can listen to my album.
Yes. And what's the name of the album now?
Oh, I can't say yet. And that's also because I actually might have changed my mind of what it's called.
Okay. So you're just about finished. You finished it, right?
Yes.
Almost. You finished it. Okay.
Yeah. And I was hell bent on a title for so long. And then actually the fans have kind of swayed my judgment on what it's going to be now, which is the beauty of having an incredible fan base. When I watch their feedback or see their ideas, I'm like, oh, they've got a point here. So yeah, I might 360 that title. But yeah.
Okay. Is there anything I should cover that I have not covered with you?
Blah blah blah, buy my song, blah blah blah. No, just that. Yeah, I hope I can keep coming back to the US to do more shows. I feel like me and the girls in Little Mix, we worked our little bottoms off to try and make it over here like it meant everything to us. And so, if I get to do that on my own, if I get to do any sort of shows over here on my own, I'll be so thrilled. So when that happens, I'd love to see everybody there.
Well, we hope to be there too. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, RCA recording artist Jade, I hope to see you in the Grammys one day. And I wish you all the very, very best. Thank you so much for coming to KTU.
Thank you so
much. Jade, everybody. Woo!